I want to talk about the Wladimir Klitschko versus Tyson Fury fight. A lot of people are saying Tyson Fury is the best competitor for Wladimir Klitschko in years. And they say things like he's a good talker, he's entertaining, he's boisterous, he puts on a good show for the crowd. And none of these things are really virtues you want for a heavyweight boxer. I mean, what you should be hearing from people is he's got great power, he's got great hand speed, he's got great foot speed, he's very accurate, he's skilled, he's got a good jab, he can throw great power shots from long range, he can throw a great jab from long range. But you don't hear any of this stuff at all. You do hear him saying he can switch well from southpaw to orthodox, and yeah, he's a very skilled boxer in that sense, and he is the tallest heavyweight that Wladimir Klitschko has ever faced at 6'9". And the only person that Vladimir has faced similar to that is a guy called Watch, who was 6'7.5", and about the same weight as Tyson Fury actually. The best competitor that Tyson Fury has ever fought is a guy called Derek Chisora, and why people think that was a very impressive win, not just because Tyson Fury beat him every single round, dominated him decisively, beat him, and got a RTD stoppage in the 10th round, is because Derek Chisora gave Vitaly Klitschko a harder time than he did Tyson Fury. But the thing that people need to remember is Vitaly Klitschko dislocated his left shoulder in the 3rd round, so he was fighting that fight injured, and even though he was injured, he only lost 2 rounds against Derek Chisora, so it wasn't that bad. So you've got to take that into consideration when you're comparing the fight against Vitaly and the fight against Tyson Fury. The other competitor that people say is a very impressive win for Tyson Fury is a guy called Steve Cunningham, and it's mostly down to the fact that Steve Cunningham had an IBF cruiserweight belt, and he successfully defended that twice before losing to a guy called Hernandez. Now, Steve Cunningham, even when you include his cruiserweight fights, does not have a very good record. It's 28 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw. So it's definitely not a bummy record. He's a good fighter, but he's not fantastic. Another thing you've got to take into consideration is that he's only got a KO rate of 36%. And this was a guy that floored Tyson Fury and had him hurt quite badly. And what makes it worse is when you actually strip out all the cruiserweights and just look at his heavyweight record, Steve Cunningham's heavyweight record is only 4 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. So that's diabolical. That's not a very good record at all. And what makes it worse is the fact that he's not TKO'd or KO'd anybody in the heavyweight division. He's managed to score an RTD in his 2nd fight there, but that's all. And even though he's that feather-fisted, he's managed to floor Tyson Fury and had him hurt badly. Now, people say that's just a one-off, and it might have just been if it wasn't for the fact that he fought a guy called Nicola Furtha a few years back. And Nicola Furtha had him hurt really badly in the 3rd round, and Tyson Fury was literally staggering around everywhere. He was just covering up, and he was just holding on to Furtha, and Furtha was just trying to get that one big punch in. If he could get it in again, I think that would have been the fight over for Tyson Fury. And when you look at Nicola Furtha's record, he has a very bummy record. He's got 21 wins, 11 losses, and a draw. And what makes this really bad for Tyson Fury is the fact that his KO rate is only 24%. So Tyson Fury has been hurt badly by 2 people that are extremely feather-fisted. And what's it going to be like when he steps up and fights a guy like Wladimir Klitschko, who fights at a top level all the time and has one of the hardest punches in boxing history? I mean, if he gets knocked down by Wladimir Klitschko, I don't think he's going to get back up again. Now, Tyson Fury has looked very good in the past. I think the most impressive fight I've ever seen him in is against Kevin Johnson. And he looked extremely fast, he was moving well, he completely dominated Kevin Johnson, but he couldn't knock him out. And the Steve Cunningham fight, even though it wasn't a very impressive win, I don't think, was very entertaining to watch. The thing you've got to remember is, though, that Kevin Johnson just this summer fought a guy called Anthony Joshua, which is a rising British prospect. and he just totally beat him around the ring, bashed him around the ring, dominated him. The fight should have been stopped in the first round. They let it go into the second, and I think he lasted a minute, and that was it. So that's a way of comparing them two fighters, you know, or comparing the ability of Tyson Fury. The other thing that's worth looking at is Tyson Fury last 6 opponents, their combined record is 154 wins and 28 losses. Now, every single one of the competitors he fought had all had losses in his last 6 fights, so they had all been beaten before. But Wladimir Klitschko, his last 6 opponents have a combined record of 150 wins and only 4 losses, and 5 out of 6 of them opponents have been undefeated fighters, never been undefeated before, and 2 of them were very impressive fighters. And people are saying that Tyson Fury is the best competition for Wladimir Klitschko in years, and it's simply not true. 11 months ago, Wladimir Klitschko fought a guy called Kubrat Pulev, a Bulgarian, which a lot of people don't know, simply down to the fact that he doesn't speak English. And Pulev fought 2 Alexanders from Russia. One of them was Alexander Ustinov, who's a top 20 fighter, and he knocked him out. And that was the first loss Alexander Ustinov has ever had, even to this day, and that was a couple of years ago now. And then Pulev went on to fight a guy called Tony Thompson, who everyone knows fought Wladimir Klitschko twice. And Pulev fought him and beat him decisively over 12 rounds, and he was a top 10 competitor. Tony Thompson was a top 10 competitor. So Pulev was definitely a far better opponent than Tyson Fury was for Wladimir Klitschko. And 2 years ago as well, Wladimir Klitschko fought Alexander Povetkin. And Alexander Povetkin had a very successful amateur record. He won the Olympic gold at the Olympics, and he was a WBA super champion as well. And he's fought a far better level of opponents than Tyson Fury. To this day, Alexander Povetkin is number one competitor, number one contender for Wladimir Klitschko, above Tyson Fury. So I think Alexander Povetkin's probably going to get another title shot before Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua will. The other thing that I hear people saying is that Wladimir Klitschko has never fought a lot of good tall fighters, and the thing is, he's fought a lot of competitors that are very good at his height over his career. The latest ones are Kubrat Pulev, 6'4.5", Pianeta, 6'5", Watch, 6'7.5". He was another undefeated fighter, just like Pulev was. Ray Austin, 6'6", and this is just lately. He has fought even better competitors than this. Fury has fought some tall guys himself, but they've all had bummy records, like Furtha, who I mentioned before, that hurt Tyson Fury badly. He won 21 fights and 11 losses. Then he fought Nascimento, who's 6'5", 18 wins, 10 losses, another bummy record. Hans Blasco, who's retired now because he wasn't very successful, 6'5", another bum. So when you're comparing it, Wladimir Klitschko has fought a far better level of competition than Tyson Fury lately, and Wladimir Klitschko has fought far better tall opponents than Tyson Fury is. So it's not the fact that Wladimir Klitschko is going to get a shock when he's fighting Tyson Fury. It's actually going to be the other way around, and I think Tyson Fury is going to get a shock of fighting an opponent that's that tall, with that ability, and with Wladimir Klitschko being such a big puncher. I don't think Tyson Fury's ever faced a big puncher like Wladimir Klitschko before, because I think if he did, if Tyson Fury fought someone like Alexander Povetkin, I don't think he'd make it through the 12 rounds. So that's my take on the Tyson Fury versus Wladimir Klitschko fight.